Hello, Bravo 45th here, or now known as Marching Memories Cinema. We're going to cover how the South Man universe and the Shadowland universe can coexist. This is going to be probably mainly from my friend Sciota, which I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name very well, so I'm just going to stick to Sciota. Here's a timeline. Here's South Man timeline, here's the Shadowlands timeline. Here's what I know about the Shadowlands timeline from a comment from Sciota on regarding the timeline. In the year 2025 is when some stem cell research is being made that the purpose of it is to cure all, human problems, human illnesses, physical issues. Basically, it's supposed to cure, and it's like a miracle technology. But things go wrong, and everyone goes crazy, and they start acting like, the typical zombie stuff, sort of. But it's not typical zombies. Sciota has explained that due to the series of events, they end up becoming more kind of like, what they would call suckers, which are people who are not really, are sensitive, their cells are sensitive to UV light, and thus they cannot be out in the day, and they go around and search for blood because of the lack of light. I believe I got that right because of the mutation of cells. So, in his series, this is what happens to the people who they're trying to eradicate the problem, the issue, with more stem cell research. It's like throwing fire on fire, basically to try to fix the issue. Then things go chaos, and that's his apocalypse that happens in the year 2025. Okay? Then, here, 50 years later, is when the series of Shadowlands is supposed to take place. This is the present time where there's nobles and kings, and they're moving back to the medieval system of doing things. People are being accused of witchcraft, all that such. So this is 50 years is where the stalker is, and those people who were mutating become what are known as the suckers. Here's the South Man timeline. This year is 2018, but it's an unknown date, but it's likely 2018. And here there's supposed to be a military operation that's taking place to secure a nuclear warhead, this facility in a different country, foreign country, to secure that nuclear warhead. Well, things go wrong, the team gets attacked, blah, 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 blah. The nuclear missile launches and fires. Now, this is why we put the year 2018, is when likely our apocalypse happens, which ends up being the full-on nuclear war. So that's what takes place in the year 2018. He's with his nephews, and they're videotaping kind of a homemade film, which is a lot of times we tell the past from that. Okay, and he gets a phone call from a friend that tells him that there's a nuclear attack that happened, which hint is going to be a nuclear attack that happens in America and all around the world. World War III, basically. Right after, he cuts that video, watches the news because he listens to his friend that called him. He takes his nephews to his family, his sister and brother-in-law, and then they take his nephews to Bunker 88. Therefore, there's a separation. What I didn't like about that storyline is there's a story gap in it. I feel like there's a plot hole. I'm just thinking that that's kind of too intentional for Southman to separate from his nephews and allow them to go to Bunker 88 instead of him going with his family, which makes more sense. Anyway, so I didn't like that original plan for it, and since there's a lot of vagueness with the past in the Southman universe, we can be very flexible for it to fit Shadowlands. But before I get to that, then it's the year 2020. Apparently 2020 is likely the year when Southman storyline's taking place. It's the present. It's after the post-nuke war. So it's only like about 2 years in the future. So it's not that long ago since the event happened. It says here also tape found. What that means is there was a tape recording of this operation regarding the facility, the nuclear warhead. That was found in 2020 by the government, okay? And this year there's something called the nuclear creatures. Since the apocalypse happens here instead of here, there's a conflict between creating the Shadowlands and this universe to work together. Thus, I have a plan to fix a lot of that. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple fix. You go back here to the year 2018, and this is what you do. And by the way, the guy that you're going to see that's kind of the head leader of this, the team leader of this, is actually the Raider, which is the name I'm giving to, if you watch episode 4, he's the guy that stole South Man stuff. Well, before the war, apparently he was Special Forces and, CIA or whatever, and he was on this mission to stop this. That mission still goes wrong. Most of the men die, but the Raider doesn't die. The nuclear missile launches, but instead of hitting America, what happens in 2018, the missile launches and it hits Germany. Now, perfect country, because I Googled it real quick. Germany is one country that doesn't have nuclear capability or nuclear weapons. They have nuclear technology, but not weapons. So they wouldn't retaliate if this was happening. Also, I thought of this unknown location where the facility ends up being South Africa, which again, they don't have nuclear weapon. In spite of that, there's the nuclear fallout that happened in Germany, and there's a tension that happens because of the result of this. So instead, what happens in the year 2018, Southman takes his nephews to Bunker 88, where his family tells him to meet him. When Southman gets to Bunker 88, he discovers that his family, that is his sister and brother-in-law, have willfully decided to volunteer for a prototype version of the stem cell research that's in Shadowlands universe. The purpose of it is to mutate the cells so that a person can live a longer age than the normal lifespan of a human. When Southman discovers his family's doing that and allowing his own nephews to be subject to that, Southman gets ticked off and he fights and he protests about it and he's even willing to expose it. Well, they knock him out. Bam! They knock Southman out. He falls on the ground. And then they take him in and they inject him with that. They're like, hey, I guess he could be a guinea pig too. And for this prototype. Thus, Southman gets the thing that makes him, live longer also. Okay? So that's all happening in 2018. They also removed the memory of Southman. And so he doesn't remember what happened, and he can't expose Bunker 88. But he does have some memory in the series, in the present here. He has some memory of Bunker 88, where it is, that it's a dangerous place, and his memory does kind of start to come back in regards to it. But he knows he needs to be there. Also, he's aware of another thing, and that's what we're going to get in here. There's no nuclear fallout or war happening in America yet. Okay, we'll erase this. 2025. Okay? Then in this year, we're going to also put 50 years later. Okay? The year 2025 in Southman universe, the same thing's happening in Shadowlands. The only thing that's different is this expands upon Shadowlands and shows that because of the tension in 2018 resulted in an all-out nuclear war. Also the fact that there was this stem cell and people going crazy, and it just made people mad and mental, and some of them pushed the nuclear button. Maybe it was a solution to, eradicate it once for all. But I'm thinking in the year 2025, actually I would say, I just put 26, is when the nuclear war. So this is my apocalypse. So thus it lines with Shadowlands. Then we go 50 years instead of the year 2020. And in 50 years, Southman member's been given the injection, thus he lives longer than most average people. His nephews live longer, as well as not just his nephews, but whoever else has been injected in it. Now, they don't have immorality. They can still die. They can still be shot and killed or whatever, but they just live longer than the average bear or the average human being. So they just live longer. Thus, that's why South Man can take place 50 years in the future. Bam. Okay, but there's one thing I want to show you. What's happening with the rest of the country in the Shadowlands in South Man universe and how that can work. So stay tuned. So here's also the rest of the world. So Wisconsin, we know the system there. There's the Night Kings, nobles, stalkers, all that stuff. There's that noble system where kings and territory. The rest of the United States after the apocalypse is not necessarily accepting completely the government system of Wisconsin. Like Oklahoma, for example. A little history about Oklahoma. It's not into 1907 that Oklahoma becomes a state. I mean, some things stay the same. Well, Oklahoma has stayed the same. They are not willing with other states to submit to Wisconsin's system of government. From the South Man universe, most of them are kind of nuclear creatures roaming around, and a lot of people are not dead, are not alive. And the system that would be left 50 years later would be more tribal kind of systems. So I think the government system in Colorado would reflect old America. You know, it's a democracy or a republic, and it's just the old America. It reflects old America. And so thus, because of this, there's a little bit of a tension between Wisconsin and Colorado. Maybe they have a nickname for Colorado and they call them, I don't know, the rebels or something like that, or you know, they accuse them of witchcraft for using the old tech from the year 2025 or something like that. Also, I had the idea that South Man communicates with the stalker through Morse code. What the stalker, when he hears about the legend of South Man, he realizes that he is supposed to be this man that lived longer than normal people, and when he was given the prototype stem cell research, he actually had more pure blood than most of the subjects. Thus, it could be that South Man might be the cure for the suckers, Wisconsin sucker virus problem. So this expands the world and makes the South Man and the Colorado and the Wisconsin universe even bigger, and makes the Shadowlands and South Man. So that's how all this combined. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this idea because it's really awesome.